Valentine's Day passed last week. We did, me and Jack did a little episode. We went back to our roots, me and Jack. We used to do podcast episodes alone, me and him, back on Small YouTube Channels Talk, our old podcast back from like 2020.
Oh, did we start?
Yeah, we're bantering. We're bantering. So we did the Valentine's episode last week, and we're going to chat just about it, just because it passed, because we filmed that Valentine's episode before Valentine's. Now that Valentine's has passed, it was just a couple days ago. It is the 16th for you watching at home. I believe this is coming out on the 21st, if my math is correct.
Valentine's weekend.
The 20th?
You're close.
What is the 20th? It'll be coming out on the 20th.
Thursday?
So you'll be... 20th. So anyways, yeah, so you're watching this on the 20th. Valentine's is just a couple days ago for us, so it's fresh on our minds. We're going to chat really quick about what we did. I'm sure you didn't get to have much of a Valentine's with Mom because of her surprise surgery that she had to have.
Timing stinks.
Yes. My mom had to have surgery, knee surgery, just a month or two ago.
It was 2 months ago, December 12th was when the initial surgery happened.
Right.
To do the full knee replacement.
And she was doing fine after that.
She was doing fine. Slight infection, like had a red spot. I think it was at the time like the size of a quarter, something like that.
Yeah.
Quarter 50-cent piece. Last week was feeling fine. Overall, kind of bothered her just a touch, but her bad knee, her other knee now, was actually bothering her more than the surgical knee. And then, so we're talking back and forth. I come up to the idea with, which I didn't know, that a comedian that I really like was performing up in Fargo, and we've seen them a few times, Minneapolis, Omaha, a couple times. And I talked to her about going to Fargo and decided what the hey.
Cheap. The tickets were cheap.
I mean, all in all, the tickets plus the fees and everything ended up being like $50 a piece.
Yeah. And you would have spent more on the hotel than the actual tickets to the venue.
I found a cheap hotel. And there's obviously reasons why there are hotels that are that cheap. Like it was only like $65.
Oh wow!
Yes, it was very cheap.
Still, just that much more expensive than the tickets.
Just a touch, but we're only staying one night. I didn't think it was a big deal. And yeah, so I pulled the trigger. Made the plans on Tuesday. Bought the tickets, got the hotel. Everything's set. Wednesday afternoon, well, she had to take and send her knee doctor pictures of it because he takes infection very seriously. Apparently they do with knee replacements.
As they should. I'm glad they did.
And basically told her Wednesday afternoon, you are going to have surgery tomorrow.
Oh my!
Which is
gosh.
Thursday. Valentine's Day was Friday, and we are going to make sure that your knee. Oh yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I gotta change this.
And we are going to make sure that we check your knee, make sure that all the infection is out, replace parts if we need to, if the prosthetic or whatever is screwy. Yeah, that happened Thursday.
Yeah.
Valentine's Day is Friday.
Yeah.
The comedy show was Saturday.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Timing
Sucks.
truly sucks.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, she couldn't go. She had surgery. Best case scenario, though, she's doing better. Infection was only a little under the surface. Great. Glad to hear.
They didn't have to replace anything. They were worried that they might
even have
to
touch it.
Yeah.
They didn't have to go that deep,
So
which was great.
Thank goodness.
But she's laid up for a little bit, so I invited my brother,
Yeah.
who
Did he enjoy the show?
I believe so.
That's good.
Oh, okay.
They had a little bit of sound issue, which I'm extremely critique on.
Yeah.
I'm actually go up there. Yeah, let me help.
I'll be 100% honest with you. There was a moment I thought about literally getting up out of my chair, going to talk to the sound guy and say, "Hey, this is the frequency you need to work on because
You should have walked up there and slid him a note and then walked back to your seat.
Yeah.
Just write like 732 hertz on like a sticky note, just slide it to him, turn it down.
I'm gonna go ahead and say their name. I don't care. They're great comedians.
Okay.
Well, of course he can say their name. Just don't pause the podcast and go start watching their content. Okay, go ahead, say their name.
It's Christopher Titus.
Yes.
is the headliner. And his wife, Rachel Bradley, who's also a great comedian. She, when they go out together, most of the time, she does the part before, and then
the
he
opening,
comes out.
the opening act. Yeah.
There, she does go out and do her own thing, and headlines herself. But they had a great show.
Yeah. Very funny.
Oh, it was hilarious.
Very good.
It really, really was.
Very good. Yeah, Christopher Titus's specials are pretty good. He had a sitcom, right? That was canceled or something.
Well,
didn't it have a couple seasons?
He went into 3 seasons. And it was canceled shortly before the end of the 3rd season.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, that bugged him.
Yeah, I bet.
So during COVID, he took it upon himself to get the original cast together, and they built the set in his building.
Oh wow!
Basically, and they did the last 2 episodes of his show.
Really, I didn't know that.
Oh.
Yeah, so they completed season.
Good for
3.
him. That's got to be a massive weight off of his shoulders. I imagine creatively, that would hurt.
Yes.
To have, especially if that would suck. Just like all of the thoughts flooding into my brain, if I had experienced that, if I had wrote 3 seasons of a show and you get to the end of season 3 and they cancel it 2 episodes before you're done with the season.
Yeah.
Good for him. Good for him.
It won't be like in Late Night Bourbon.
I mean, the difference though has got to be the age difference, right? Because what is it, shot like 2 decades after, something like that?
I did not know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like the his OG sitcom was in 4:3.
Right.
Like the square dang
TV.
near aspect ratio.
It's on YouTube. You can watch it on YouTube. Honestly, it's a really great show.
Yeah.
Especially for car guys, because he's a car guy.
Yeah,
And I at least had the privilege of meeting them both the last time that we were in Omaha. It was very brief, unfortunately. We talked with them for like 30 seconds to a minute.
Those fan interactions, they have to go fast because they got to meet a lot of people.
They're like doing things that you could sign, and they were taking pictures.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. If you want to take and put up a picture right here, I'll give you the picture. But no, it was great. Got to meet him, talk with him, found out that I knew from a past comedy special because I watched all of them. He's got 10 comedy specials out now.
Big fan.
Soon to be 11.
He knows how many.
Mega fan out here.
Mega fan out here.
His first car was a 1977 Oldsmobile Delta 88.
Oh.
Which is the exact same make, model, year
that Jim has.
Yeah. And his car is an Indy Pace car replica.
Right.
And we can put a picture of that up here real quick.
Oh my gosh, you got to send me. You better send me these.
Oh,
because
I'm
gonna need them.
I got him in my car.
But yeah, I mentioned that to Chris, that my brother had the exact same car, essentially like what he had, except it was an Indy edition. He's like, that's a thing? Like
He's like, what?
Like he didn't.
He's like, that's cool.
He wasn't sure. And I'm like, yeah, look it up on the internet. So I don't know if he ever has. So Chris, you happened to come across this.
Oh yeah.
We'll
on the off chance that he sees this,
we'll send you a clip.
We'll send you a clip. Hey Titus, if you see this, maybe send us a few bucks too. Hey, you want to sponsor this podcast?
Or we want to
we'll send them to your podcast,
or
don't get greedy.
Yeah, I know when to stop. We should probably roll the intro. It's about 10 minutes.
Roll the intro.
Welcome
back to Thanks
That
for stealing
sounds
it.
so energetic.
You did it so great, man. You should do it every time. Just you. I'm not even going to host the podcast anymore, man. It can just be you.
Well, that was
And
You
you
bring
can
all the
do
energy.
it 3 feet away from the microphone so nobody
like
hears
all the
you.
time. I'm always 3 feet away. Every
always-
single episode, I'm far away.
All right. So, yeah, we're going to keep going. We wanted to talk a little bit more about these crazy filming stories that we had started talking about at the end of last week's episode. I have
Stay tuned. This will be great.
This will be great. We're gonna. I'm just starting to realize, slightly off topic, but still on topic, because what I'm about to talk about is on topic. Last episode, nobody said
Slick
Slick
Trigger.
Trigger.
Oh, for now for
Nobody
this.
said
episode.
it.
Are you
Oh,
sure?
no!
We just
I
filmed
messed
it.
up.
We just filmed it. Nobody said Slick Trigger.
Oh.
Yes. Woohoo! Okay, thank
Dude.
goodness.
Dude,
I messed up.
One episode without Slick Trigger. I got one
How do
down.
you feel about Siege filming Slick Trigger at
honestly,
that time?
I thought it was super cool.
So
I
anyways,
really
yeah.
did.
So anyways, we're going to talk about Slick Trigger. Because one of these crazy filming stories was on the set of Slick Trigger.
Oh, I'm sure you've got more than one.
Actually, I technically have 3 stories
See?
on the set of Slick Trigger. But the first 2 were from before Slick Trigger was a movie. When we were shooting the series that was on YouTube that the movie was based on.
That was when you were
In
doing
2013.
your little podcast thing, you two?
No, that was
Or
even
not
even
podcast.
farther. This was like 2014.
This is when cheese
2014,
puffs.
the cheese
You were a-
puffs.
You were an early teenager at that time.
Yeah, 2014, 2015 was when
What
we
year are
when
you?
we shot
He
Slick
was
Trigger
born
the
in
series.
2000.
Yeah.
2000?
Yeah.
Oh, 2003.
Easy to figure.
You'll be, yeah.
I'll be
around,
25
like,
this year.
7. Like at that time, you'll be like 6th or 7th grade, right?
Yeah. And that was shortly after me and Jack had started like hanging out and shooting videos together, and he had the idea for a series called Slick Trigger. It was 10 episodes, and the whole thing by the end of it put together is about 30 minutes long, and it wasn't like bad. We made it as, children.
You
Like,
were kids.
literal children, like 13, 15, like pretty
You were
young.
in the very early stages of basically thinking about subject matter, plot line.
Right, very early. And at the time, it was Jack's like best thing that he had made, like genuinely. But shooting that, we had started using actual like real looking gun props. That was the first time that we stopped using Nerf guns and stuff in our like shoots and stuff.
Well, yeah, you wanted it to be more realistic.
Exactly right. Even if Ron was a 14-year-old playing a 60-year-old man, we wanted it to be more realistic.
You
So
could
we
have
got
de-aged
realistic.
him in post-production, man.
There was multiple times. So the first time we were here at the church, and we were on the other side of the church, and we were outside, and we're filming this very beginning scene of the series where the Dukes rob a bank. And yeah, so there's just like a quick couple of shots of them outside walking up with like some fake guns, and there was one shot of me playing like a guard and Jack hitting me, his character being Frankie. And I remember we were shooting that, and then we had moved inside to keep shooting, and we saw a police car pull up. And this first time, the police didn't actually interact with us. They walked into the church, and they had
came
found
into the
They
church?
walked into the church, and they actually ran into like the pastor who was working at the time, which was not Tom.
Christy?
No, it wasn't Christy.
Oh, Jess.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was Jess.
that was
Yeah.
a long.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, that was before Tom.
Mm-hmm.
That was
It was like right before they had left.
okay.
It was like maybe a year before they had transitioned out.
Okay.
Like it was pretty,
Yeah.
Anyways, so they walked in, and the cop talked to Jess, and she cleared it up with him and just let him know that we were filming. And then she walked up and she was like, "Yeah, guys, just let you know,
Kids filming a YouTube video, guys.
just letting you know, the cops pulled up and
They're
gave us
curious.
the rundown, and we were like, okay, we'll try to be, a little bit more careful about it. So then a few times after that, when we would go out, we would actually, like, if we saw people, we would tell them. But even still, we weren't great at it.
Oh my god.
So then we were out shooting another scene on
At a
the
bank.
east. No. We were out shooting on the east side of T behind like some at the time it was like an auto shop, and I think the place is like I don't know, it's something else now. It looks like a barn. The building looks weird, but the place has always been there. But at the time it was owned by like some auto shop, so there was just a ton of cars in their back like garage area.
Okay.
Like, they just had like a ton of cars, and we just went back there without permission, just going around shooting. And like most of the time when we would do stuff like that, people didn't care because we weren't like actually like messing with stuff. We were just using the scenery, walking around. Like we weren't actually like pushing stuff over, and like we weren't being menaces.
Damaging anything.
Right, we weren't being menaces.
You weren't driving the car.
Right. But nonetheless, so we were shooting this, and there was a lady who had a house next to the business that we were in the backyard of. And this lady felt obligated to like start yelling at us and telling us to put like our stuff away and stop filming. And I remember we got into a shouting match with her about like,
which is not the first time that's happened.
this is also true. We got into a shouting match with her over it, and I think we thought that we had managed to like get her to go away, so we kept filming, and then cops pulled up and they were like, "What are you guys doing? We just got a complaint." And this time during the series of Slick Trigger, we almost basically every interaction we had was minimal. Cops showed up, they asked us what we were doing, and we explained it to them. We're like, we're not even on her property, we're not bothering her, we're not being loud, we're not hurting this person's property. I think Jack might have had permission to shoot there at the time. I had assumed that
Jack
we
knows
didn't,
everybody in T now.
because every time that I didn't have permission. So like it rolled over smooth with the cop. The cop was like, "Oh, this is a non-issue." I don't know. She could have gotten charged with filing a false police or like calling the 911 for a stupid reason or whatever. That could have happened. Anyway, so that was fine. That was the few times. Mainly probably because we were kids that we got away with it.
At the time.
When we were teenagers shooting Slick Trigger in downtown Sioux Falls.
At a bank.
Literally using like exteriors of banks to like, but like we weren't like obviously walking around with like fake guns outside of them, but we would try to like be sneaky. Even though sometimes we were still stupid. Like one time we were next to a bank in an alleyway, like in the alleyway next to a bank.
Oh,
Right.
no.
Shooting with these fake guns and stuff. And somehow that time the cops never got called on us. Like there was multiple times when we were downtown shooting with this stuff and nobody said anything. Nobody raised any alarms. And it wasn't until genuinely the last day on set shooting Slick Trigger, we're shooting the final scene between Cyrus and Frankie and Robbie, which is me, Jack, and Dylan's characters, and the cops pulled up and like, so we're in the middle of this alley.
Is that the time, like there was multiple cars there.
So we're in the middle of this alley and we had the two cars. They weren't facing each other. They were trying to chase each other away, right? So slammed on the brakes. It's supposed to make them look like they were in an accident. So they're just parked right up next to each other in this alleyway. And from both ends of the alley, they block us in. One cruiser on one end and two cruisers come in on the other. And we're like, oh, and immediately we all dropped the props that we were handing.
Smart thing to do.
And I also dropped the camera that I was holding.
Ooh.
Because I didn't want them to, well, I would have kept recording. But I didn't want them to see anything in my hand and think that it was a weapon.
Right.
Anything, period.
Which is fine.
Anything, period. At the time, I remember.
You're stripping your own clothes. I'm sorry. I'm not dangerous.
I remember
I think that's a little over the top.
I remember when it originally happened, I was like, man, I wish I had started filming it and like set the camera on top of the car so I could have at least like got footage of it.
Oh,
happening.
yeah.
My
That would have been cool. No, so anyways, so yeah, they pulled up on us and we immediately dropped everything and they got out and they told us, drop what you're holding. And we were like, oh, yeah, of course. And they're like, show me your IDs. Give us your IDs. What are you guys doing out here? Immediately started questioning us. And we're like,
grilling you.
Grilling us.
Who said the most words? Was it Jack?
I think Jack, yeah.
Of course,
Jack was.
of course it
Well,
was
yeah.
Jack.
Well, he was the director, and he's a really good guy when it comes to that, like de-escalating
I'm
situations.
sure he could add a ton of context.
Oh yeah, he could add a ton. Like I'm really hitting
this is probably going to be
Let's
something that
FaceTime
we'll
this is
revisit.
the spark notes of this interaction. I'm just gonna like this is like the key points. So yeah, so that happened, and they basically told us like, get out of here, like leave, don't come back tonight. And we weren't done shooting, so we like left, and then we came back like 30 minutes later, and we finished.
Oh.
And nobody bothered us after that. But yeah, that was scary. And there was actually one other time I was shooting in T with my little sister Lola, and I can't even remember what. I think it was for some like found footage like horror short or something that I was making, and we were filming a scene that like she was beating me up with a bat. I don't know why, but that was the scene, and it's me with a camera acting like I'm getting beat up with a bat in a park where there are like, you know, how many houses just sitting across the way just watching. Everybody's watching.
Everybody.
And a cop pulled up. Got out, you know, hand on his waist, and he was like, what's going on here, guys? You know? And of course, optics are never our best. They're just never in our favor. So to explain to these cops, like, oh, we're just filming, nobody's hurt. Like, look, I'm fine. It always throws them for a loop, and they never believe us right away. And it's always like, no, sense. Look, I have a YouTube channel. No, I swear, like, this is like a nice camera, and like a normal person wouldn't have this. And it takes a normal lot of convincing until they're like, all right, fine. But then usually you get away with a warning every single time.
Well, you've had a lot of interesting interaction with police due to filming.
Yeah, every interaction I'd say, every interaction I've had with with an officer that maybe could have been an altercation.
Yeah, and see,
I've
had a few interactions, obviously not filming, but with police myself that has, you know, made a few pretty good stories, I'll say.
Let's hear one. Do you have any interesting ones?
Well, I have 3. The most interesting one I won't say today because I want Jack to be here when we bring this subject up again, because I want to hear a lot of his context for a lot of the stuff that's gone on. I know he's.
Oh yeah, he'll have
so much.
Oh yeah.
The one I think that I'll probably bring up now. There is more than one. I had a total of 3. I'll say 2 of them today, actually.
Okay.
Because one of them, I had an old van that I got from my oldest brother after he'd passed, and
you're
old,
talking about the Windstar?
Right, the old Ford, and at a certain. This freaking vehicle, by the time I got rid of it and it sat for a while, it had like 285,000 miles.
I remember I drove that for a while too in high school.
You did, yeah. The thing wouldn't die.
No.
It literally.
Sorry, then.
Oh, yeah. It's a great car, honestly. It was probably one of the more reliable things that we had. It was one of those things where the engine and transmission would just keep going and everything else around it would fail.
Yeah. It was like.
So, but it had some electrical issues, which one night caused me to get pulled over because one of the taillights went out. And I knew that it was an issue. I personally had already checked it, and found out that it wasn't an issue with the bulb, that it was an electrical issue.
Right.
I knew about the problem.
Right.
Cop pulled me over. I won't say where, but he told me what the deal was. I'm like, oh, yeah, I know about this. I'm seeing if there's something I can do to fix it, because it looks like it's a pretty in-depth thing to fix the right way. He's like, well, I'm going to give you a fix-it ticket, and you have to have it fixed within like 2 weeks, or you can't drive the vehicle anymore. I'm like, I just told you this is an in-depth electrical issue that is probably going to cost a ton of money to fix the right way. I told him, which I cannot afford. I
can't afford within 2 weeks.
Yeah. I'll be honest. This is definitely not one of my better days. I went off on the cop.
No.
I freaking yelled at the guy and basically told him that he was tying my hands. I was going to lose this, not be able to drive the car because I wouldn't be able to pay for something like that in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And because I had that 2 week time frame to get it fixed, come to them and get it checked before I could take and drive it again. And it was not a good time for me.
Yeah.
Long story short, I'll cut it a little bit. I do obviously have a little bit of an electrical background, but in the heat of the moment, you don't think clearly.
Right. And you just want to defend yourself.
Right.
I have a feeling one time I got pulled over in the Windstar 2 for that exact same issue, and I remembered you coming to my defense. Like, I got pulled over in the Sunshine parking lot or something, and you came to my defense and you started cussing out the cop because it was like something that had just happened. Like, this might have happened like I don't know when it happened, but it had to have happened like after that. Because I remember a similar situation.
It had to have happened after that. Yeah. Because like I said, it would have took a lot of money to fix it the right way.
Right.
And I fixed it, but it wasn't the right way.
Enough to get it working.
Because it was a brake light, one side was out, one side worked. Okay.
Did you just connect the wire to the other side?
I jumpered the side that worked
to the other light.
That didn't. So that way, when this light came on,
that's genius, though.
Both of them.
That's smart, though. That's like thinking outside of the box.
And I didn't hide the wires. There was literally like if you opened up the hatch, you open up the hatch, you could see wires just going up and around and down. But I took it to the police department to get it checked, like I had to.
And they didn't. They saw it and they were fine.
Yeah, they just seen two lights working.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was, they signed
That's
off
enough for
on
them.
it. And
do you have to pay a fix-it ticket if you don't get it fixed?
No. It's just after that time frame, if it's not fixed,
you can't drive it.
You cannot drive it. It makes it illegal to be on the city street.
So there's not any money exchange on a fix-it ticket. It's just an order for you to get your car fixed by this time.
Or
else you can't drive it.
Period. Yes.
Huh.
So
okay, I'm sorry, I cut you off. Yeah.
No, that's fine. That's first story. Second story. This is years ago. I lived up Watertown at the time, hour and a half north of here, and I went to go see a girl that lived in another small town, about probably 15 miles or so out of town, and
a girl that wasn't my mother.
No, this is long. This is long before your mother.
I'm just razzing it, Dad. It's okay.
Just razzing.
Just razzing.
And so there's a story and then there's a backstory to this. So the story, the main story was I went to go see her, spend some time there, and I was on my way back to town. I was on like a road doing 55, whatever. Got pulled over by a cop. At the time I had a 1990 Chevy Beretta GTZ. High performance car, beautiful car, black wheels, car was black, gray interior, beautiful car.
Pimpin'.
Yeah. And
Daddy Dave.
Oh, dude, I owned a convertible at the same time.
Oh yeah, dude, yeah, he was getting chicks.
A black Chevy Cavalier RS convertible. Yeah.
He was in debt, bro.
Slightly off subject with my Beretta. My Beretta was a 5-speed. I raced a Monte Carlo SS with a V8.
Yeah,
my car's got a
V8.
My car's got a high output 4-cylinder, and I beat him by a car length. I'm a car guy.
Anyways, continue.
Anyway, I get pulled over by this cop. And instantly, when he comes up to the window, I got pulled over because I was speeding. I did it a lot when I was young, too. I have had a few speeding tickets. Legit, you got lucky.
Yeah, I get it. I don't have anything on my record, so I keep getting away with warnings.
So, well, I will say that time I didn't get away with it. But
Darn.
But in addition to that, for pulling me over for speeding, he noticed that I had a powdery white substance on my dash. And he asked me what this powdery, no, this was like in the summertime. He asked me what this powdery white substance was. In the moment, poof. I'm like, I don't know. I said, I'm like, earlier this weekend, I let a friend use my car for a little bit. Maybe something happened with them. This guy, no joke, made me get out of the car, wanted to search the car, look over everything.
He thought it was cocaine.
I went, yeah, he did. And I went over everything.
In Watertown, South Dakota.
Middle of nowhere.
Little very quick history of me. I've never touched anything drug related.
Okay.
I don't even smoke. Never touched them ever.
Dare.
Yeah. So I'm outside the car. He's checking. Another cop shows up, which was a canine unit.
No.
They never used the dog.
What?
The dog stayed in the vehicle the whole dang time. They could have brought.
What did they even do?
They literally could have brought the dog out. The dog could have and sniffed it, and they would have been like, this isn't nothing. They left the damn dog there.
And
so,
how long did they keep you for?
Probably 15, 20 minutes at least, something like
it?
that. Well, they had to search the car,
Right.
and they had to get a sample of what it was.
What was it?
That's the second part of the story.
I'm jumping the gun. I'm sorry.
So yeah, they got a sample of it and stuff, and they told me, they're like, we're giving you a ticket for speeding. I don't know what this other stuff is, but we're going to send it in for testing. They said, if we find out it's something, we're going to be in contact with you again. I'm like, okay. So the second part of the story, which explains a little bit and is much shorter. I had a friend, their parents, they were out camping that weekend. And they had a camper with a refrigerator in it. The refrigerator was smelling funky. They wanted us to go into town to their place and get some stuff for the refrigerator so it wouldn't smell funky.
Okay, like cleaning supplies?
We went to their house.
I don't know what it is now.
we went to their house and picked up like a box of baking soda. And of course, when
I wanted to guess that's what it was from the beginning.
And that car has the dash.
Yeah.
It had like an indentation in the dash to hold stuff.
Yeah.
So when we went to get it, we just threw it on the dash. And of course, some of it leaked out and was all over the dash. So I could only imagine. I could only imagine when they did the testing of it.
They were so disappointed.
We got him. We definitely got him. Roll the Breaking Bad title card.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny.
Yeah. So I almost got busted for drugs.
But it was baking soda. That's
parody.
Crazy. Okay, well, I suppose that's a good place to end. Before we go, we'll do a quick
Before
you go. We'll do a quick "What Are You Booming" segment. This is the segment where we share some of the things that we're interested in right now, whether it be music, TV, video games, live events. I already said music. Whatever, you get it. What we're into right now. I suppose I'll start. What did I watch recently? There was a movie that I watched. Oh yeah, that's right. So I rewatched Cars and Cars 3.
Not 2?
Not 2. Okay. 2 is
too actiony.
2 is
Not
not
Cars.
good. 2 is not good. The Cars movies that are racing films, those are the ones that I rewatched. And Cars 1, masterpiece. So good. Forgot how good that movie was.
Oh,
And-
there's a reason why it spanned more movies.
right.
You know.
And Cars 3, oh my God, it made me cry at the end. It genuinely made me cry at the end. The stuff with Doc Hudson, it's just those Pixar car movies should not be as impactful as they are, but darn, those are genuinely some of the best Pixar films.
You literally cried to a car.
Dude, I cried about a car. But it's because of the fact that the actor that played Doc Hudson had passed away before they made Cars 3. And they had gotten permission from his estate to use outtakes from the first film so he could still be in Cars 3. Like
Wow.
in flashbacks and stuff.
Dang.
So, like, seeing that, and then, like, small spoiler alert, at the end of the film, Lightning McQueen gets a new paint job that's blue, like Hudson Hornets was, and he calls himself the Fabulous Lightning McQueen because Hudson Hornet wanted to be the Fabulous Hudson Hornet.
Right.
And when that showed up on screen, I genuinely, like, a couple tears ran across my face. It's a really good movie. Go watch the
You
Cars
saw it?
films if you haven't.
All
Avoid
car
2.
guys, if you have not had your kids watch that or watch those films,
What are you
the
doing?
kids will love Cars forever.
That'll get them into Cars too.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think that is probably the
Or
movie
Fast and
that helped
Furious.
me get Fast and Furious. Those movies too are
Not
fantastic.
maybe cradle friendly.
Anyways, yeah, I watched the Cars movies. Go watch the Cars movies. What about you guys? What are you booming?
What about you, Daddy Dave? We got going.
I
Well,
watched-
Christopher Titus, obviously.
Yeah, Titus for sure. Him and Rachel. Basically watch them all the time. I watch too much YouTube.
Yeah.
I watch so much YouTube.
It's good to know that like it's not just the younger generation that's hooked on YouTube.
Yeah,
though.
my dad's on YouTube.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, I mean it's like main source. I would almost say.
Yeah.
But
It's free.
besides that, I started getting back a little bit into my video game cabinet stuff, virtual pinball stuff.
Heck yeah.
Because I do have a computer that I haven't done a cabinet for that's basically set up for old school virtual pinball tables. I think I've got like 250 tables. I just got to build the cabinet.
Yeah.
And I think I want to start with a mini and have like a 32 to 40 inch play field with 19 to 24 inch back glass. Something that a person or two people can easily carry around before I actually go ahead and do a big
whole
one.
Big one.
Yeah.
Like a standing one.
Oh, yeah. Standing one. So that's going to have like a 50 inch play field.
Oh yeah,
with
you got to
32 inch back glass
Yeah.
with another 19 inch DMD monitor in the middle and big old speakers and lights and stuff on. Like I got all kinds of plans for that, but that's gonna take some time and some money.
All right.
So-
Well, we'll check in with you. We'll check in with you next time you're back on. We'll see how the progress is going, okay?
Yeah, it's time consuming.
All right. All right, man. What are you booming?
On February 14th, on Valentine's Day, I wish I could have spent it with somebody, but I spent time with the boys filming my first short film.
Really? How did it go?
We just finished most of the scenes. We need to finish one more scene, and then I put in post-production.
Congratulations,
How long?
man.
How long is it going to be?
Yeah, what's the target run
About
time?
like 10 or 11 minutes.
That's pretty good.
That's good.
That's a good
Yeah.
time. That's a
Yeah.
good time. And is this the one that you brought up on the few podcast episodes ago?
Yeah.
The you had writ?
Yeah.
Awesome.
My first one, yeah.
That's so
So
cool.
you wrote this and planned it out and the whole
I
works?
wrote it in like maybe in October
Oh.
or November.
Yeah.
But
December maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Around
How long
there.
did it take you to write it?
Couple weeks, right?
Took a couple weeks, but went through a lot of revisions.
Right.
So our final revision was done. I think it was 2 weeks ago. Or a week ago?
It's usually like that. It's
Oh,
usually
that's-
like that right up until shooting.
Yeah, it
yeah.
is.
Oh yeah, it's not uncommon at all to have 3, 4, even 5 revisions.
Oh,
sometimes,
yeah.
I'm sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
a million.
And yeah, it's super normal to have changes right before shooting. Just even, yeah. But that's very awesome. Congratulations, man. I'm very
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
you wrote another one too. Is that one going to
Yes,
go into
I
production?
just finished my second my second script.
Yeah.
It's about 18 pages long,
Oh.
and then I'm trying to look which idea I pick for my third one.
Hey, you should cast me as an actor in one of these because I want to get back into acting.
Yeah, I wish I could get into acting too.
Yeah.
I was pulled into acting by.
This guy.
Yeah. And Jack.
Yeah.
And Jack.
Jack,
Yeah.
well,
yeah.
yeah, that's true.
All right,
Jack,
well-
Jack had all kinds of plans.
Thank you guys so much for watching this week's episode. We will see you next week. Who knows what guest we'll have? Even I don't know. But I'm sure nonetheless it'll be fun, fascinating, and funny. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to go check out our merch, badaboomcrew.com/shop. Get some fire merch. Go watch full episodes of Late Night Boomin' on YouTube. You can find short clips on TikTok and Instagram. Same with the podcast. Find full episodes on YouTube and find short clips on the other platforms. Where can they find you guys if you want to point them
You
to
can
your
find me on
socials?
Instagram at minlu.films.
Facebook.
If you want to friend my dad on Facebook.
His name is Daddy Dave on Facebook.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Later.